guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is an entitled people story. Living in a small town, I always knew that neighbors could be unpredictable. But I never thought I would have to deal with a neighbor like the one next door. This neighbor, let's call him Mr. Smith, was a snobbish man with a reputation for always flaunting his wealth. He owned a big company in town and drove around in his fancy sports car, which he often used to show off to the other neighbors. Despite all of this, I had never had any issues with Mr. Smith until one day when I noticed that he was starting construction in his backyard. As I took a closer look, I realized that he was building an in-ground pool that extended way past his property line and onto mine. Not only that, but they had destroyed a part of my driveway in order to make space for the pool. I couldn't believe the audacity of this man. I confronted the construction workers, but they brushed me off and told me that it was Mr. Smith's decision to build the pool there. So, I decided to take matters into my own hands and approached Mr. Smith directly. He just laughed in my face and said that he had done this kind of thing before, and that the city officials would never catch him. But I wasn't going to let him get away with it that easily. I started documenting everything, taking pictures of the construction, and keeping a log of when and where they were working. I even hired a surveyor to come and confirm that the pool was indeed on my property. Once I had all the evidence I needed, I went to the city officials and reported the issue. They were shocked to find out that Mr. Smith had not applied for any permits and had been building the pool illegally. They immediately ordered him to stop construction and remove the pool entirely. At first, Mr. Smith tried to fight it, but I had too much evidence, and he eventually gave in. But that wasn't the end of the story. Mr. Smith didn't take kindly to my interference, and he started making my life difficult. He would play loud music late at night, leave his trash cans in front of my driveway, and even started a campaign of harassment against me, spreading lies and rumors about me around town. I was determined to fight back and wasn't going to let him get the best of me. I started keeping a diary of all the things he was doing, and I installed security cameras around my house to catch him in the act. I even got a restraining order against him, which made him back off for a while. But that wasn't the end of it. One day, I came home from work to find my driveway completely destroyed. Mr. Smith had driven his car over it, causing huge cracks and potholes. I was livid and decided that enough was enough. I went to the police, and they investigated the incident. They found tire tracks leading to Mr. Smith's house, and he was arrested for property damage. I felt relieved that justice had finally been served. In the end, Mr. Smith lost everything. He had to pay for the damages to my driveway, and he was sued by the city for building the pool illegally. His company also suffered a massive blow after it was discovered that he had been avoiding taxes for years. The company went bankrupt, and Mr. Smith had to sell his fancy sports car and his house in order to pay off his debts. As for me, I had my driveway fixed, and I was able to live in peace without Mr. Smith's harassment. It was a tough journey, but I had stood up for myself and fought back. However, the story doesn't end there. A few months after Mr. Smith's downfall, I received a letter in the mail. It was from Mr. Smith himself. He wrote that he had hit rock bottom and that he wanted to make things right. He apologized for everything that he had done to me and begged for my forgiveness. At first, I didn't know what to do. I had been through so much with Mr. Smith, and I wasn't sure if I could forgive him. But as I thought about it, I realized that holding on to anger and bitterness was only hurting me. So, I decided to meet with Mr. Smith and hear him out. We met at a local cafe, and Mr. Smith looked different. He looked tired and defeated, but also sincere. He told me about how he had lost everything, and how he had to move in with his sister in another state. He had been going to therapy and working hard to change his ways. As I listened to him, I realized that he was truly remorseful. He offered to pay for all the damages he had caused, and even offered to do community service to make up for his wrongdoings. I was touched by his efforts, and I forgave him. From that day on, Mr. Smith and I started to build a relationship. We weren't friends, but we were friendly. He even helped me out when my car broke down, and he offered to lend me his. It was a small gesture, but it meant a lot. The next story is titled Sort the Laundry? You got it, boss. I am a hotel housekeeper. It was a pretty busy day and almost all of the rooms had to be stripped. We have 2 carts for dirty laundry. Well, except for the one in the top floor, and the one used to catch what we toss down the laundry chute. But that's unimportant. What is important is that my boss is pretty insistent on sorting the laundry before it goes to get put through the cleaning process. Sorting the laundry entails separating the towels and everything that does not towel into the 2 dirty baskets. Now, as I mentioned, it was pretty busy and there was lots of laundry. But I still had to sort them. Initially, I tried taking the towels out and swapping them all into one basket while putting everything else into the other. After a while, I realized that this method would probably take hours at best. I got the idea to take everything out, sort them into 2 piles, then put them back in. So, I did. The pile of towels was medium-sized at best. The pile of everything does not towel, however, was nearly up to the ceiling. I put them back into their respective baskets and found that the stack of not towels was in fact taller than me, and I'm over 6 feet tall. About this time, the manager walks in and says, verbatim, "What the duck did you do?" Exactly what you told me to do. My manager is barely 5 feet tall and couldn't hope to reach the top of the stack. The person who comes in when I leave is also very short. Speaking of which, it's my time to go. Have fun, I said, as I clocked out. As I walked out, I heard another, "What the duck?" This time from the poor employee who came in and saw my handiwork. Apparently, she had to stand on a chair to reach the top, which would not have happened if I wasn't told to sort it. The best part was that I couldn't be blamed because, well, I did what I was told. Duh. But it doesn't stop there. She demanded that I call my 6 feet 5 inches friend and coworker to help. Too bad he specifically requested that day and the next few after that to go on vacation with his girlfriend. Talk about bad timing. Since then, sorting the laundry has been optional for housekeepers. The next story is titled "My Parents-in-Law Went Nuclear for Not Offering My Brother-in-Law High Salary." I have a brother-in-law and let's call him conveniently Bill. He is 26 years, 2 times university dropout and never worked, even no summer job. But okay lad as a person, just a little bit Kevin. I work in large company and I have ability to create positions, hire and fire within my department. One day my parents-in-law asked me if I could find some work for Billy. Despite we did not need anybody in my department for additional unskilled labor, I went for 3 weeks through hoops and corporate gymnastics to create a position for him and justify it to my superiors why we need this position and why not create public job offer for it. I think I blew all my favors, and definitely owe some now. The day finally came when I received contract for him from our. He was supposed to be back office administrator or in a human language, clerk. The salary was set tiny bit under national median for this position, but I simply could not justify more. This weekend I brought the contract to Billy, who lives with his parents and present him the contract, and here we go. For perspective, $1,300 netto here is average living cost for a single person outside of city centers. Me. And here is your salary, the bottom line, which shows what will appear on your bank account after tax and social security. Billy. €1,300 is not much, is it? Me. It is entry position and your job is really just pulling from archive or archiving with occasional data entry. But see here, I pointed at benefits. Each year you are eligible for certain salary increase. Billy. I thought I will become your partner or something like that. Me. Well you going to be something like my assistant. When I need something, I will tell back office manager and she might assign it to you. His father joined in. Father. What? You are making my son your errand boy and for such pittance, this is humiliating. Me. Frankly he does not have. He interrupted me. Father. Everybody knows that you managers are sitting there all day doing nothing, so why my son cannot? Me. Listen, I cannot make him project manager in an engineering company. If it is about money, I can put a word for him into assembly hall. They always want people and salary is way higher, but it is really hard work. Father. Grease monkey? Like some Eastern Europe immigrant? Me. That's actually also quite bit qualified worker position. I meant like assembly worker on belts, hard job. But as I said better salary, including paid overtime with more vacation than I have and actually pretty decent chance of promotion. Father. Haha why don't you put him in coal mine right away then? Or better, make him. Me. We are done here. Billy. If you do not come tomorrow at 7 a.m. to my office, I will put this offer to Ministry of Labor for active job seekers and good luck with your CV. Father. And this married my daughter. Me. Door slam. Topics he called afterwards with my wife. Your husband thinks so little of us that he wanted your brother to be his lackey for grand a month. Now I am happy you do not have kids yet, he would probably put them on farm field. If he abuse you let me know, I will knock his teeth out. Conclusion. He came today at 7 a.m. to my office to see those assembly belts despite wishes of his father, but with encouragement from his sister, my wife. Glad I could vent my frustration and anger with you here, dear Redditors, and at the same time amuse you. May your poop scrolling at work be fruitful. The next story is titled Woman Wants a Refund because she's filled up the memory on her 3-month-old phone. Fun ensues. I work in a UK phone shop. One day a couple of months ago, I'm stood outside the shop at 8:50 waiting for my manager to come down and let me in. There is a middle-aged woman standing outside as well, glaring at me, tapping her foot and huffing impatiently. Uh-oh, bad sign. At 9 a.m. we open the doors, and she comes stomping in, straight up to me. I open my mouth, but she doesn't give me a chance to speak. She bought her phone 3 months ago, and it doesn't work anymore, apparently. She wants a refund. Now before this conversation goes any further I feel I have to point out to her straight away that a refund is not going to be possible after this length of time. After 30 days we can send it off for repair, but that's it. Don't argue with me, she screeches. Okay. I ask her if I can have a look at her phone. She rolls her eyes and hands it over. After a few seconds it becomes clear that her internal memory has been filled up with photos of her grandson etc. And so there isn't any space to install a software update. So, there isn't actually anything wrong with her phone at all. With my best retail smile, I begin to explain this to her, and mention that she can always buy an SD card and move her photos onto that and hey presto, problem solved. Nope, she wants a refund. We're back onto that. I tell her I'm going to go and speak to my manager. I go upstairs, and we laugh at her, the usual. But he still comes back down with me to back me up because she's getting pretty horrible. And we then spend another 10 minutes or so trying to convince her that literally all we can do is send her perfectly working phone off for repair. She's now telling us she's going to go to trading standards, quoting the Consumer Rights Act at us. Basically she's the biggest cliché going. Unreal. Eventually she admits defeat. But she still wants it repaired. So, I sit her down and start to take some details. Why do you want my details? I am literally on the edge here. Eventually she tells me her first name. I start to type it in, she can see the screen, as Gil, and then she says, "No you stupid girl, it's spelled Jill, speaking slowly." I raise my eyes to her and give her a big sickly sweet smile and apologize profusely. I then ask her for her surname. Let's see if you can spell this right, shall we? At which point I sit back and I say, I'm sorry but I'm not going to serve you. She goes bright red and starts sputtering. Kicking off. Calling me thick, rude, etc. etc. My manager comes over and tells her calmly to leave. I'm taking this all the way to the top. Feel free, but please leave. The next story is titled I was yelled at for saving her daughter's life. So, working as night manager at a largish hotel where we had 4 overnight staff. Myself, Maud, a cleaner, houseman, the night auditor, and a security guard. The guard's duty is to continuously to walk the, more than 8 less than 12 floors, for noise incidents. Our hotel is very close to a plaza that is filled with bars, including a very sketchy country bar known for over-serving and not checking IDs. This is Canada, legal drinking age 19 for reference. We see 3 to 4 ladies in their late 40s and a younger girl barely legal. We later find out the daughter of one of the older ladies. Leave shortly after 11, dressed for the country bar for sure. I thought it was a little weird to go clubbing with your mom and her friends but whatever, you do you. Just before 1 a.m. the younger girl and one of the older ladies returns. It's pretty obvious the younger girl is quite drunk but they are being quiet so I don't hassle them on their way to the elevators. 20-ish minutes later the older lady is heading back out to party with her friends. Another 20-ish minutes and we get a call from the security guard that a woman is passed out on the floor in the hallway. Could I go up to back him up? I head up to the floor in question and sure enough, slumped against a room door is the young lady from earlier. She is unresponsive to our verbal commands and then she starts throwing up on herself. We roll her, we have medical gloves on at this point, thank God we keep them on us at all times, into the recovery position and call an ambulance. While waiting for the ambulance the mother and her friends return to their rooms. We inform the mother that we called an ambulance for her unconscious, unresponsive daughter, who is throwing up on herself, and she starts screaming. How dare we call an ambulance? What are they going to think? Her husband is a first responder and will find out. She is going to sue us. Now, the houseman arrives with the EMTs, who start making sure the young woman can breathe and load her onto a stretcher to take her to the hospital. One of them does in fact know the mother, and that is when we find out the daughter is only 16. He looked at her and told her she better call her husband. She goes off with the ambulance crew, crying. That is, by far, the weirdest, most stressful night of my several years working in a hotel. The next story is titled Stepmom Won't Stop Using the Only Car I'm Insured On to Go Shopping, Causing Me to Be Late for Work. I grew up in an abusive household, and it got so bad that my dad eventually got me out of there. As a gift for my 18th birthday, I received a used 2008 Acura TSX, which I used to get to work and hang out with friends. I'm fully aware that it isn't exactly my car, but it's the only vehicle I'm insured on. My stepmom has her own car, but she never uses it. She always has to take the one my dad bought for me. She uses up all of the gas I bought, and then refuses to fill it up, and with the current state of gas prices, I can barely afford a full tank. She never uses the car for anything important, only for shopping. I had texted her to tell her I had work the night before. She took my car anyway. By the time she got back, I was late for work by 30 minutes, and she yelled at me, saying that she had to stop shopping to bring the car back, as if she was the one being inconvenienced. And I know this is hard to believe, but she somehow brings her daughter's grades into the whole argument? Update. The situation got worse. They've taken full control of my finances and hit me with a $13,000 bill to pay for everything I was told I didn't have to worry about before, not including the car I have to pay off. I owe someone money and they owe rent in 10 days. They can't work because they've been around someone who tested positive for COVID. I can't pay them back because every paycheck I make is taken from me, and I'm forced to write money orders to my parents. I only have $9 to my name and I don't know what to do. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.